Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Fuller Kamara. Today we're in chapter 17 using QuickBooks Payment. So I skipped this tutorial because I wanted to make sure all our tutorials are hands-on, but for completeness sake. So that's the reason why I wanted to go over this with you guys, just to make sure we cover everything that you need to know. Once the payment has been set up, it is easy to link it to a payment method such as credit cards or debit card. The client will get an immediate notification that payment has been made. Clients even have the option to add payment links. Adding a payment method for invoices and sales receipt. So in order for us to be able to use the QuickBooks payment, we first need to add payment. So to add the payment, we go to the gear icon and select all list. So once we select all list, you can see we have the payment method. So we can select the payment method. So this is where you add the payment method. If you select new, you have the option to add a name, let's say MasterCard. So once you select it, you can say this is a credit or debit card. So you check this debit or credit card and then click save. Please note that the clients will have to repeat this process for any other payment method that they want to work with QuickBooks Payment. Here you have the option to edit. You can edit this, change it or give it another name, or you can run report from here. So you see, you can also make inactive. So if you want to change this to make it inactive, you can make it inactive. Then you can also, if you click on this gear icon here, you can include inactive, that is payment method that you've made inactive but you wanted to include them to make them active again. You can click on the gear icon. You can also print from here, but I'm not gonna print anything at the moment. When creating an invoice, the client can select which payment method. So let's say we want to create an invoice, they can choose how they would like to be paid by selecting the edit option. So once they select the edit option, they can go to the payment method. Because we haven't set these payments yet, so that's why it will take us to this setup page. Because if we had set this, then the client will just have the option to choose which payment option to include by selecting the edit, and then they can check the box next to the payment option or payment method that they need. But in this case, since we haven't set up this yet, we can just click continue, and this is where you can set up the payment. You can add the legal name, that is the first and last name, and you can put in your phone number, the last 4 digits of your social security number, and the date of birth. Then you can also put in your personal address. Then you have the zip code. Once you finish, you can click save and continue. So you just follow the prompt. Then you also have here the rate. So for each of the payment method, you have the rates that are applicable. That's how they set up the payment when they are creating the invoice. This is how they can choose which payments method. Then once they finish, they can just save and send. So once the client has created the invoice and selected which payment method or the payment option, they can send it via email. Once the customer receives the invoice, they can tap the review and pay in a browser, and then the customer can enter their payment information and select pay. So the customer will receive a payment confirmation and can download the receipt directly from the browser. If the customer don't want to pay immediately, they can schedule to pay later using the payment date box at the bottom of the screen. Then once the payment is made by the customer, the client gets a notification and the payment status is automatically updated in QuickBooks Online, and there is no need to record payment or deposits in the QuickBooks Online. So this is one of the benefits of using the QuickBooks Payment. And then also using QuickBooks Payment with receipt. You know, we have invoices, then we also have sales receipt. For invoice, we issue invoice if the customer is going to pay like later. Whereas if we sell something and then the customer pays immediately, meaning we're going to use sales receipt, which is this one. There is no need to create and send an invoice if the customer pays at the time of sales. The client would just need to create a sales receipt in this case, which will record both the sales and the payment on the same screen in QuickBooks Online. The customer can then be emailed the payment receipt for them to have a record of the sales. If the client select like credit card as the payment method, because you can see here they have the option to enter the customer name, they can choose the customer name, and then most of the time if we populated like the customer data, email, the address will all pop up. So the date, and when they select the payment method, whether be it a MasterCard, to process the payment, the client needs to enter the credit card details and save, and then send it to the customer. So that is if it is a credit card. Then there are also instances where the client might choose to use payment links, instant deposits, QuickBooks Go Payment. Clients using QuickBooks Payment have 3 additional features to make things faster. They can either use the payment link, the instant deposit, or the QuickBooks Go Payment. So each of these have like different use case. So for payment link, these are single use links that clients can send to their customers in email or text messages. The links automatically expires once the customer has made the payment. So take note of that. Payment links are great if the customers are expected to pay immediately. So you, in terms of like the use case, use payment link if you expect the customer to pay immediately. Otherwise, online payment option added to invoices would be better. Let's say, for example, you have the customer on the phone right now and then they are willing to pay. It is better to use like the payment links. But if you know the customer will pay at the end of the month, then you are processing the transaction right now, meaning, or creating the invoice right now, meaning it is better to use the invoice, the online payment option added to the invoice. It's easy to create a payment link. You just need to navigate to the sales. So once you are on the sales, then you can see payment links. So here, this is where you create payment links. So just click get started. It will still take us to this setup page, but just follow the prompt once you get here and then complete all the necessary details. So you can select the payment link to view the status of the link. That is, if you send a link, you will be able to monitor the link to see the current status. Then we also have like instant deposits. If the clients need payment quickly, they can activate instant deposit themselves. There is an additional 1% charge per transaction for instant deposit. Clients can deposit a minimum of $1 and then a maximum of $2,000 up to 3 times per day. To schedule instant deposit for certain days of the week, you can just go to the account and settings, and then you can go to the payment. So once you select the payment tab, like I said, this will also take you to the setup page. So you see, once you click learn more, because the reason why it took us to the learn more, because we haven't set up this payment information yet. So if you click continue, it will still take us to this setup where you can enter all this relevant information. Once you've set up everything, you can go to the deposits speed section and then select change. So in the setup, your instant deposit schedule pop-up will show, and then you will be able to select the days you want to get instant deposits for, and then schedule and save, and then you can save the schedule. So like I said, we won't be able to do like a practical application for some of these, but I just wanted to show you where to find those, just in case you are in an exam or you have a client, then you wanted to set up the instant deposit or payment link, you know where to go to complete. Because there is one thing, as long as you can read, QuickBooks will walk you through the process. The only thing, you need to know where to go, which section of QuickBooks to find something. Because if you know where to find things, then you will be able to process most things, because there is most time you will get the instructions, step-by-step instructions. Then you also have the QuickBooks Go Payment. Clients with QuickBooks Payment can also use the Go Payment app to accept payment on the go. So that app, you can either download download it on your phone, which is the Go Payment app. As long as you have the QuickBooks Payment set up, you will be able to receive payment on the go. So that's also another option. So you can also set up like recurring payments using the QuickBooks Payment. So to create a recurring sales receipts, you can go to recurring transaction from the gear icon. So if you click recurring, and then you can click the new and select the sales receipt. Let's say you want to make a recurring transaction relating to sales receipts. Once you select the sales receipt from the drop down, and then it take you to this screen. So this is where you set up the recurring. So if you haven't seen our previous tutorial on recurring transaction, I suggest you watch chapter 27, that is creating and using recurring transaction. We have the recurring template here. You can give it the name. So once you give it the name, you can select whether schedule, reminder, or unscheduled. This is a schedule. Then you can fill all the details, recurring sales receipt details, as you would on any other sales receipt. You can enter the date in advance, let's say 5 days in advance, and then you can select the customer. So once you select the customer, you can either check, these are the options, whether to send automatic email to the customer, and then whether be it monthly or on a quarterly basis or yearly basis or weekly. So whatever works for you, you can do that. If you are billing the customer on a monthly basis, you can do that also. Maybe you want to do it on the first of every month, and you want this to repeat every 1 month. Then you can select the start date. Let's say if you want to get the start date maybe on the 1st of December, you can do that. So if it has an end date, you can choose by what end date. But if you don't want to put any end date, you can leave it as is. So, but yeah, if you want to get like the detail on setting up a recurring transaction, just check out chapter 27. Then once you finish, you click save the template. So you can save the template. Please note, if this is the first time the client is setting up a recurring payment for this customer, the client must have a written authorization from their customer to charge a recurring amount. Just a side note there. And when entering the credit card details, ensure that the process credit card box is checked, so that this will tell QuickBooks to process the payment via the QuickBooks Payment. Then you can complete the rest of the detail as with any other receipt and save the template. So because currently we don't have like a payment method set up, so that's the reason why you won't see the information that we're talking about here. Recurring invoices with autopay. The autopay feature enables customers to automatically settle their regular invoices. So in order for us to enable the auto pay, they need to use the invoice template. So auto pay feature is only available in the invoice template from so let's say we want to set up like an auto pay. So in this case, instead of the sales receipt, we select invoice instead. So we can use the invoice template. So once we click the invoice, fill in all the necessary information. We change this to schedule, days prior, let's say 5 days, and fill in the necessary detail. So we can check automatically send emails, and then on the online payment option, we can select the payment method from here. Let's say we can click this, check this. You can also set up, like, since we have not done any setup, if you click that, it will also take you to this setup page. If the client want to give the customer the option to pay either by credit card or bank transfer, you can check this payment option. After the setup, you can click save, and that's the end of chapter 17. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like if you like the video. See you in the next video. Thank you.